we're live from the Scheinfeld Center Innovators Studio at Santa Barbara City College. Welcome to our Leadership Trilogy podcast. I'm your host, Julie Sampson, director of the Scheinfeld Center, teaming up with the Career Center to support all of you in making big career moves. So whether your aim is to transfer to a four-year, land your dream job, or launch a venture, self-leadership and your professional brand will light the way. But what is a simple way to start? Joining us to break it down are four SBCC alumni who have been there and done that. Emily, Jacob, Giselle, and Kayla, they are going to share their insider knowledge with you to help you find clarity and confidence with your upcoming career move. So stick with us, and thank you to our guests for being here. It's so nice to connect with you. And with that, let's just dive right in. So let's start with a highlight reel. Tell us about one accomplishment from your time at SBCC you're especially proud of and why, and then the big career move that you did after that. So Emily, would you like to start?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me, first of all. So my name is Emily, and I graduated from Santa Barbara City College in May of 2023. And one of the things that I'm most proud of accomplishing during my time at Santa Barbara was definitely, so I was able to, together with Dr. Eisenschau and Professor Sanders, restart the National Honor Society Phi Theta Kappa on SBCC campus. So I served as president for a year. And in the beginning, we had no board members and really no interaction due to the COVID pandemic had really sort of killed the momentum of the society on campus. But by the time we ended, we'd been able to raise thousands of dollars for charity. We worked with local organizations. We'd hosted game nights, chess nights, all stuff like that. And it was just a lot of fun. And it really helped me to transfer to Columbia University, where I am a senior right now. And I study human rights and economics, and I conduct independent research for the university. So I specialize my research within the realm of child sex trafficking and corporate responsibility. So I think that was a really amazing accomplishment, something that I'm really proud of still today, and I'm still really connected to the society. So it's been amazing.
Thank you for your amazing work. Fantastic. So Giselle, how about you?
Well, to go after that. Honestly, what I can say is just really surviving 2020 as a student. Dealing with a ton of mental health stuff, being able to finish all of my classes, passing all of my classes, and doing it in a different way that we're not really used to. So doing like that whole hybrid thing was really hard, trying to stay focused, especially with a ton of learning disabilities. It's really hard to stay focused when you're doing stuff online and you're kind of alone, surrounded by all the stuff you have at home. So I think that was a really big accomplishment, not only for myself, but for many students, just due to like mental health, physical health and everything. But I finished school in, let's see, I finished in August 2023, and I ended up taking over my family's restaurant in November 2023 at 25 years old. So I took over an entire legacy, a 27-year-old legacy, only being 25. So I think I'm extremely proud of that. It was a lot, but you get used to it. So yeah.
That's amazing, Giselle. Yeah, congratulations on your journey. I think you're so right. That was such a challenging time for students and many people, and it's so amazing that you came out of that and look at how you're shining. Yeah, nice job. Okay, Kayla, how about you?
I'd have to say one of my proudest accomplishments was being accepted into the NASA Aerospace Scholars Program during my first semester majoring in computer science. At the time, I was facing mental health challenges and carrying a lot of doubts about whether I belonged in tech. And getting into that STEM program gave me a huge boost of confidence and helped me see my own potential. I graduated from SBCC in 2024, and that experience inspired me to keep pushing forward and eventually led to a career move into database programming. And now I have a role as a business intelligence developer at Marin Health. So, yeah.
Such an amazing journey. Yeah. And I appreciate, both Giselle and Kayla, you sharing, your experience mentally and emotionally, and the challenges there, because I think that's so real for people, and to see what you've accomplished is so impressive. So thank you. All right. And Jacob, how about you?
Hey guys, Jacob McHenry. I founded Smart Card, the digital business card and contact management company. So I actually did not finish out my time at Santa Barbara City College. I dropped out about a year ago to work full time after winning the Scheinfeld New Venture Challenge. And so the best thing I would say that my answer to that question would be winning that challenge. And it wasn't even for the money factor. I mean, that definitely did help, and we applied that to a lot of the legal work and trademarking that we had to get done. But it's more so to give validation to the concept that we actually had something, right? So getting a bunch of people who have been down that path before, who were successful, who've been in it for 20, 30 years, who said, yeah, you really do have a product here. I was on the fence before about whether or not, oh, am I going to do Smart Card? Am I not going to? And I was like, I'll apply for this. And that's actually what gave me the push to continue this business. So I've just been doing it ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. And thank you. That's also such a valuable experience that you're sharing, because there, especially with entrepreneurship, there is this thing about, do I go and do my thing? Do I finish my degree? And, you're navigating that. And I think you have valuable insights to share in that way. And thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so it's inspiring to hear about all of your wins. And now let's get into your personal, or we're going to focus on your professional brands. So when we talk about professional brand, this is what you show to the world of who you are. So what we're looking at is 3 words that would define your personal brand. And how did that contribute to the career move that you just described? Let's see. Giselle, would you like to start with that one?
So I thought of welcoming, motivated, and joyful. I kind of switched joyful with strong, because you definitely have to be really strong-willed and have a strong personality to be a Latina woman in the restaurant industry, because it is very white male dominated, but mostly male dominated. So definitely having the strength to be able to deal with the different types of people in the industry, and also having to kind of set your boundaries as a female is something that I use my strength for a lot. And it is hard. It definitely is hard as a woman to set those boundaries, just because you don't want to kind of be made seem as like dramatic, or like just like a stereotype of something. But it's definitely strength that has helped me get through an entire year of running this business and learning its ins and outs and everything.
Yeah, fantastic. That's such a good example. Thank you for sharing those realities that you're encountering, in the restaurant world, and how you're navigating those. Such nice work you're doing. Let's see. How about Jacob?
So I would have to say that the 3 biggest things for brands, and the most important thing to note too, is that your title, your money, your success, whatever it is, could be gone tomorrow. So your brand and what you bring to the table is who you are as a person. That's everything. Because at the end of the day, you could lose it all, but you will never have somebody force that upon you, right? So for me personally, I would say that ambitious, honest, and faithful are the three biggest components of my brand, right? And I would say that ambition will bring you to that point where things are rolling and the ball is going, but faith will keep you there, right? And faith has been, especially the more challenges that you endure, and as an entrepreneur, you will hit the hardest challenge you've ever hit every single month, if not every single week. And so it's really just, you can't look at the entire mountain. You have to just put your eyes down and just keep climbing, because if you look at the mountain, you'll just stop climbing, right? So I would say, as a Christian-based company as well, that faith aspect is massive, right? So if you're ever running into those problems, just either pray, meditate, whatever it is that you do. That's crucial, because if you make decisions in times of conflict or chaos, they're most likely going to be the wrong decision. So you got to breathe and step back for sure.
Such wisdom. Thank you, Jacob. And Kayla, how about you?
For me, three words that define my personal brand are reliable, honest, and perseverant. Perseverance really fueled my career move. There were times I doubted myself or felt really overwhelmed, but I kept showing up, learning, and growing anyway. And that consistency really helped push through challenges and build a path toward the career I have today. I started off as an entry-level programmer with no experience whatsoever, but because of my excitement and passion to want to really learn, that is why I got hired. And my boss did tell me that, and she was more than willing to teach me on the spot when I got hired. So, I'm very grateful for that.
Yes. That's such a fantastic point. I have heard that so much. And actually, as a manager, I experience that as well. If somebody is motivated and willing to learn and coachable, it's like bring them on board, right? Because most things can be taught, if you're in your area of interest, right? So yeah, perfect. Emily, how about you?
So I think the three words that I picked for this is resilience, determination, and hard work. And they do go along each other quite well. I feel like being a student at Columbia, it is a very challenging environment to be in. And I want to be real about that. So it is something that I'm really happy that I have. Also, my hard work enabled me to be very involved at Santa Barbara City College. So during my time, I was in student government, PTK, Sigma Chi Eta, international student ambassador, student worker, and so on. And all of those things taught me so much. And also they really helped my application to stand out. So I feel like they've been absolutely detrimental to my career path.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Just yes. Plain yes. Absolutely. Right. Okay, so let's go into, we've talked about strengths and positive things that get you through, but like Jacob was saying, inevitably, if not every day, every week, every month, there are those hurdles that come up. And so part of what we want to hear from you is, what was the toughest hurdle that you encountered with your career move, and how did you use your self-leadership, some type of self-leadership strategy to help you through that? Let's see, Jacob, would you like to start off this one?
Sure, absolutely. I'd be definitely happy to start. So the biggest hurdle I'd say isn't a singular event, it's a continuous one, right? And the biggest hurdle that I've faced so far is the learning curve. So my background before getting into technology was real estate, which are two completely separate industries. And the biggest thing that I see, and that was a problem for myself for a long time as well, is a lot of people wait until something, oh, I gotta know enough about it first. Oh, I have to build the perfect thing first. The reality is, even the best of the best, even if they came from a background of their parents were the best of the best, nobody knows anything when they start out. Literally everybody starts out at the same exact spot, right? Some do it younger, yes, and some do it older, but you know nothing, just like everyone else who started. And if you let that be a barrier, a lot of people will keep that from joining into their passion or what they see for their lives. So I would say that the biggest learning curve so far is just, it'd have to be just following your ambitions.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I love the part that you were saying that there's folly in waiting until things are perfect before executing. That's part of why we're here. Actually, with the Leadership Cafe podcast, we were like, this is needed now. We kind of have the idea. Let's get it going. Let's figure out what works, what doesn't work, and go with it. So thank you for being a part of the grand experiment. And thank you, Jacob, for illustrating that so nicely. Let's see, Giselle, how about you?
I would say, well, I 100% agree with Jacob, because it's definitely really hard to, because I got a degree in environmental landscape design and drafting, and I completely jumped to something in like across the board different from what I was studying. And it definitely is that learning curve, but I can also say it's breaking out of the habit of having your stable income and having like saying, oh, I'm gonna have this amount of money every 2 weeks, to not knowing how much money you're gonna have in like a month or in like 2 days. Like, it just really is kind of adjusting from your old life to your new life as a business owner, which is really hard. But the one thing you need to do is communicate with your team, communicate with your partner. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because you can drown. I mean, it's true, you can drown, but you need to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help, because I mean, someone is always going to find some way to motivate you and push you and help you get to where you want to be.
So well said. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much, Kayla. And Emily, how about you?
Yeah, so I definitely agree with what's been said. I think for me as well, one of the biggest hurdle that I've had to overcome is self-doubt. After I transferred, I suffered from severe imposter syndrome because I felt so different from a lot of my classmates with my more untraditional educational background. But how I overcame it, it was a gradual process, and it was very hard. But I feel like I was able to turn my doubts into my strengths too. So I realized that because I have an untraditional background, I actually have other perspectives to bring to the classroom, and that was really appreciated by my professors. And it's actually, I think, one of the major reasons that I've been able to form such close connections with faculty here is that I sort of leaned into the things that made me different instead of trying to fit in too hard. So I think that's really valuable to remember as well.
Yes, that is so wise. Thank you for sharing. I mean, it's so easy to feel less than, when there are gaps in, any number of areas. And I love how you turn that around to a strength, not only for yourself, but your faculty are reflecting that as well. That's really wonderful. And my apologies, because I called Giselle Kayla, but now we're going to Kayla.
So I can relate with Emily. My toughest hurdle was overcoming imposter syndrome, and I still have it all the time, wondering if I was really ready to take that next step, or whether I belong, or, if the company I work for made a mistake. And my top self-leadership strategy was just continuous learning and being open-minded, being open-minded to new ideas, and just being honest about, how I'm feeling, where I stand. And I made time for small, consistent progress, like watching tutorials, joining communities, and staying curious. Even with programming, I have little programming apps. So that way I can just practice and, keep building that muscle memory. And that's really helped build my confidence and stay ahead, especially in a fast moving, tech space. And it can get really competitive, as well as I can't think of the word, but just it is very male dominant, and I have felt that energy. So
Yes. Yeah. Oh, thank you for bringing up these hurdles. The imposter syndrome. This makes so much sense, because whenever we're doing a stretch goal, we're not already there 100%, right? We're trying to grow into that, right? That's what makes it a stretch goal. And so that feeling of being an imposter, can be really prevalent. And so thank you for sharing how you went beyond that. And also, Giselle and Kayla, the realities of being in male-dominated fields and what the experience of that is as a woman and how you navigated that. Super valuable. So we're going to switch gears here. We have some questions from our audience, and let me go with the first one here. This question, let's go with Emily on this one. So how did you use your network to get where you are today or not? And if you did, who do you consider part of your network of support?
So I used my network at Santa Barbara City College so much to get to where I am today. Especially for me was Dr. Eisentraut. She's continued to be a very close mentor to me, and I speak to her regularly. An amazing woman. If you have the opportunity to work with her, please reach out. I know she's so happy to help. And they were professors to me also in student government. I was able to work with the administration at Santa Barbara City College, and I've never met people that are more supportive and more there for you when you when you know what you want to do, or even if you don't know what you want to do, they can help you figure that out, sort of what is happening a little bit here today. So I'm so relying on them still. And the fact that I was able to format those strong relationships at Santa Barbara also gave me a little bit of confidence to reach out at Columbia as well. So my network I say it's at the foundation of everything that I've been able to do today. So if you have the opportunity to reach out to people, do it. As been said today, people are mostly or all of the time, what I've experienced, happy to help. So please do, basically.
Oh, that's so good to hear that you had that experience here. And I think that faculty who are listening are going to be so inspired by that. It's really nice with, all the trials and tribulations that can go along with teaching. I mean, the students are the reason that we're there. And it's so nice to hear the reflection of that. So thank you. Okay, next question. The question, how were you able to obtain a job with no experience? This is for Kayla. How were you able to obtain a job with no experience? So it's kind of crossing that gap that you experienced.
So, I was 25 when I started going back to school, and I was just kind of thinking, what is it that I really want to do? And, I was working at Sansom Clinic, and I was working in IT, and I was really fascinated by, all the technology. And so I just started the programming class, and me being me, I just started messaging people on Slack being like, do you know programming? Because I need help with my homework assignments. And I came across someone, my boss that I had, and I was like, do you know Python? And she was like, no, but I know SQL. And I'm like, huh? Like, what is that? And it got us to talking, and she was like, you should apply. And I was like, what? Are you sure? Kind of thing. And I kind of stopped replying to her for a second, but I really thought about it and was like, you know what? Why not? What's the worst can happen? Just do the interview. And, I just went in being myself and just going in with passion, being honest, and, just being very curious, I think is what really, got me that job. And also, making people pumped because, I really get excited showing people software. I don't know. I get really excited to just show people medical applications. And I think they really enjoyed that. I was like, yes, so I don't know if that really answers the full question, but that's what it was for me, is just, conversing. You never know who can be right there if you just have a conversation and, just go for it. And that's kind of how I guess networked in a way. So, it was just so unexpected too, very unexpected. And I'm very blessed that that happened for me.
Yes. Well, two things, just even when you're talking, your passion really comes through. And you're very personable, even on Zoom.
Thanks.
So that says a lot about you and your connection to what you're doing. It's so wonderful. And it connects to what Emily was saying, the network that you were leaning on, that really helped you move forward. Yeah, really nice. Okay, let's take the next one. How are we doing on time? Yeah, we've got it. Let's see. Yeah, so this is going to be for Jacob. So how do you overcome the challenge of being young and hoping to win the respect of your clients, customers, and coworkers? You started entrepreneurship early.
That's a phenomenal question, actually. Yeah, because you run into that a lot, especially when you're younger. It depends on the industry somewhat, but the biggest thing that you can do to counteract that is knowledge, right? When I was in real estate, I actually ran into that a lot because people, are trusting you with their homes. And so the way I got around that is ask me any question. Okay, well, how about this? Answer it, right? Because I did have that knowledge because I studied for a long time before getting into that, starting out at like 12 and 13. And so the biggest thing to counteract the lack of knowledge or youth would be to get that knowledge, right? And then use that to answer questions that anyone may have. But in addition to that, one thing that's really important that I want to touch on to watch out for is it's fantastic to have confidence. Like confidence has gotten me in the doors at a lot of spots and gotten me a lot of opportunities, but make sure that you have the knowledge to back up the confidence because a lot of people who are seasoned and who have been out there for a while will see somebody who's overconfident, right? And won't have the knowledge to back it up. They'll say, oh, they don't know what they don't know. They just think that they know everything. And that's a death trap. Like certain people will put a wall up and you will have no opportunity there. So make sure your confidence is, yes, very, very high and that you can do it, but make sure you have the knowledge to back it.
Yes. Oh, so wise. We see that in entrepreneurship with interactions with investors so much, right? I mean, yeah, excellent. Well said. I'm not even going to add more to that. Yeah. Okay. So, Giselle, this is for you. A great question. Are women or men better leaders and why?
Um, I mean, I just have to say it. I think women, because we're so much more emotional and in tune with our how we're feeling, that we're able to communicate more. Um, we're able to communicate with business partners, employees, um, with ourselves. We're able to stay kind of more true to ourselves. Well, this is just all my opinion, but
From your
but
perspective. Yeah.
from my perspective, I mean, I am now in a community that I have never thought I would be a part of, and meeting so many awesome female business owners that are a part of the Mujeres Makers Market. I have become friends with so many women that are so powerful and, to speak their mind, and I love it. And it's so nice being surrounded by so many powerful women, empowering women, and never be afraid to step out of your comfort zone to show that you would be a good leader. And kind of, you don't have to prove yourself. As long as you can prove it to yourself and not to other people, that's good enough.
Fantastic. So well said. Well, if you can believe it, that's the end of our time. And I would like to thank all of you for being our guests. Thank you so much for your inspiration, being willing to take time to give back to students who are coming up in your footsteps. As I mentioned when we were talking before the podcast, I think that students are able to reach other students in a way that is just so unique and needed. So thank you for that. And with that, that's going to be a wrap for this episode of the Leadership Cafe podcast. You've heard from Emily, Jacob, Giselle, and Kayla about their valuable knowledge, insider knowledge that helped them apply personal branding and self-leadership for success. And you can apply that knowledge that you learned to your own career moves, to help your own success. And I'd like to invite everybody back, and I will be reaching out to each of you guests about this, but we'll be back in April for the second in the trilogy of helping students make those career moves, stabilize them, and excel in them. And so we hope that you might be back with us then. So to our audience, start crafting your personal brand and join us again. Spark today, soar tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Okay, that was it. So nice, so smooth, so wide.